Neighborhood first. I know it sounds like your society's president's favorite slogan, but it's also a geopolitical reality. Strong and friendly neighbors are a boon. Scheming and unstable ones, well, not so much. The current Indian government has made this a cornerstone of its foreign policy. Neighborhood first. All neighbors have benefited from this, but one country stands out, and that's the Maldives. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh is in the Maldives on a 3-day visit. He has some big meetings lined up. Maldivian President Ibrahim Soli will meet him. So will the defense and foreign ministers of the country. Rajnath Singh will also hand over some military hardware to the Maldives. One is a fast patrol vessel ship. The other is a landing craft. Both these will be used by the Maldivian National Defense Forces. So that's the official agenda. What about the political objectives? This trip is important for two broad reasons. Number one, reaffirming India's commitment to the Maldives. It sounds generic, right? But not if you consider what China is up to. In the last decade, China has expanded its footprint in the Maldives. It is upgrading airports, building houses, bridges, even harbors. But the downside is this: a lot of loans. Reports say the Maldives owes China around $1.4 billion. Their total GDP is just $5.4 billion, and they have loans worth $1.4 billion. So India has been trying to reverse this process to once again become the #1 partner of the Maldives. We'll talk about that later. But for the moment, let me tell you about the second reason. The Maldives will be holding elections in September. It promises to be a consequential one for India. Why? Because support for New Delhi is not bipartisan in Mali. It depends on which party is in power. The current president, Ibrahim Soli, is closer to India. He says his policy is India first. And the opposition? Well, exactly the opposite. The Maldivian opposition has been running an anti-India campaign. It's called India Out. Its poster boy is this man, former President Abdullah Yameen. He ruled the Maldives from 2013 to 2018, and during this period, he pushed the country closer to China. He joined the Belt and Road Initiative. He signed a free trade agreement, and he also saddled his country with Chinese debt. So what does he want now? He wants a return to closer ties with China. Yameen is expected to challenge Soli in the month of September. But as things stand, he cannot contest. He was convicted of corruption and money laundering last year. Unless he can clear his name, he won't be on the ballot. Nonetheless, the opposition agenda is clear. Push out Indian influence from the Maldives. The question is why? India has consistently contributed to the Maldivian growth story. $500 million in grants, not loans, grants, $500 million, $800 million in a line of credit. Not to mention the vast defense cooperation. Around 70% of the Maldivian defense training is done by India. A lot of equipment also comes from India. And ironically, that is exactly what the opposition has a problem with. They've accused India of violating Maldivian sovereignty. They say India has stationed troops in the country, which is all bluster, by the way. But as we have seen with hyper-nationalists, bluster can be effective. The fact is, maritime security is non-negotiable for the Maldives. They need well-trained sailors. They need modern landing craft. They also need Indian intelligence. There is nothing nefarious about any of this. It's common bilateral practice. India, Sri Lanka and the Maldives regularly conduct drills in the Indian Ocean. The idea is to be prepared for any challenge, like natural disasters or shipping accidents, even pirates. So in recent years, defense has become a cornerstone of this relationship. Since 2016, India and the Maldives have been holding defense cooperation dialogues. The last one was held just 2 months back in March 2023. So from India's perspective, the plan is quite clear. Keep supporting development and defense projects. Don't give China an opportunity to sweep in. But that also depends on the domestic politics in the Maldives. New Delhi must work harder to win hearts and minds, to make sure that the anti-India sentiment is contained. And how do you do that? Well, soft power always works. India sends the most number of tourists to the Maldives, even more than China and the US, and that's one place to start, tourism. So are historical links and cultural links. The Maldivian language traces its roots to Sanskrit and Pali. There is also interest in Indian movies and songs. The idea should be to capitalize on all of this, to convert this relationship into a bipartisan one. If not, It will be a missed opportunity for both sides.